What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. So as you can tell by the title of this video, it's going to be a little bit different pace than normal. Instead of just talking about the S10 like typical, we got a new motor here. I picked this up on Facebook Marketplace the other day for $500. It's just an LS2 cathedral port. It's supposed to be out of a 04 Silverado. You know, who knows what it really came out of. I got it just like it sits. What we're going to end up doing is taking it apart, checking it all out, see if it is a good motor first off. And then I want to gap the rings, put a cam in it, probably maybe an intake, injectors, and get it all ready for boost. It's going to either be a backup motor for this thing for a while, or we're going to start another project and put it in here. I'm not real sure yet. I just want to get it built, get it completed, and just have it finished, and then we'll go from there on where it goes. Quick update on the S10, waiting for injectors still, and they seem to be lost in UPS, unfortunately. And that is not a cheap mistake on their part, but there's nothing I can really do. But we're not going to talk about that today. We're going to start disassembling this and do a complete walkthrough on how we do it, what we're doing, what sizes, what order, and just how it looks and how's it coming apart. The motor may be completely junk. I have no idea. So we'll see in a little bit. We're going to start disassembling this thing. Now we'll pull the intake off and see what it looks like under here. This will be one of the first things to see how it is. Next we'll take the valve covers off and see how those look. Oh no, forgot one wire. We're not going to use those anyways. You don't need knock sensors. You can record them. So now that we got all the accessories off, the flywheel off, we're going to go ahead and take the valve covers off next, just to take a look at things, see how those look, and then we will drain the oil next. I have not taken these off yet, so who knows what we're going to see here. You already see inside the heads how nasty the intake port is there, so I imagine this is going to look pretty bad. If you don't know, just an 8mm, easy enough. Everything on the LS is either 8, a 10, or a 15 pretty much. Alright, so they are definitely rusty as hell up here where, no, there's not. I don't know why they're all rusty. I guess this thing's been sitting for a long time. Takes forever. Still rusted. Well, I guess right here for the oil, that oil cap is right there underneath this one, so I guess that's why that one's so rusted. But I would take a guess that this motor has been sitting around for a while. There's a lot of what looks like water in here, so that would explain all the rust. See, there's nothing on there, so that looks fine. There's no chunks of metal or sparkly anywhere in here. So that's definitely a good sign so far. Alright, so now we're going to move up to the head section. Pretty much to start off, never taken a motor apart, this is your first time or whatever. LS, the same size to take the valve cover off, same size for these rocker arms. Some people spin it over to where the lift is off of it, or the pressure's off of it, and then you take it off. But typically these LSs really don't matter, as long as you can just unbolt them as they are. It doesn't really matter with these as much. They're not under high tension, high pressure, or anything like that. So you could pretty much just come through here, bust all these off real quick, and then once you get them all loose, you'll be able to see in a minute. You can just take them out. They got a bar holding all of them together, so that way you don't have to mark it or anything. Just take them out, set them in your valve cover, and you're good to go. Or just set them wherever you want. But I put it in the valve cover normally just because it's easy. It's just right there. It's a free tray to put the stuff in, pretty much. We'll bust these off real quick. We'll look at the push rods, take all that out. On an LS that's stock, you don't have to worry about mixing stuff really. All the push rods are the same. Pretty much everything's the same all the way, so you're never really gonna mess it up, I guess you could say. All right, they're all loose. Now you can just pull the whole stand off with all of them on it. And it's that easy. You can just set it in here if you want or whatever. No push rods. They are definitely rough up top where it's been sitting. You can see all the rust and shit on it on the top side. The balls of them don't look to be that bad. They're definitely worn. It's definitely have a shitload of miles on it. Pretty much just look and see if anything's just destroyed, because we're not going to use these push rods, so it really doesn't matter. But that way we just kind of know if there's an existing oiling issue or problem that could be really bad. But all of them look to be fine. Only the first half have that rust on the top. The second half look fine. They look normal, really. So I'm not sure why they're so rusty up top like that, but so we'll continue this. We'll go ahead and do the other side real quick, just time lapse of that. Then we'll come back when we actually take the head off and show you down below. Holy shit. Yeah, so this thing has definitely seen some better days for sure. A little rough around the edges there. If this was like going in the S10 for sure as its only motor, I'd probably junk this thing and start over. But I'm only $500 into it. Whatever, it's not that big of a deal. It's just gonna be a fun motor. I'm not gonna get all upset or whatever about it. So we're gonna go ahead and just order a hone to hone this thing out after unless the pistons or something hurting the other side. But I mean, it looks bad, yeah. That scratch kind of sucks, but we're gonna hone it out, put it back together, and just see what it does. I'm not gonna be all, I'm not building this thing to be 1,000 horsepower. So we're gonna keep taking this deal apart, keep looking at what we see, and go from there. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and get these lifter trays out, look at these lifters, kind of get an idea what the cam looks like. So if you never took an LS apart, a lifter tray is just this plastic piece right here, and pretty much all it does is keep the lifters in place and keep them riding on the cam straight. See if we pull these things out real quick, see what they look like. If they come out with the tray, of course not. So let me fish these deals out real quick. So I'll go ahead and show you. The lifter tray, these lifters, they have a flat spot right here. And the tray, it only fits one way really. You can't put it in the other way. just doesn't work. So this tray sits in there like this with these flat spots. That's what holds the lifter in straight, the roller straight on the cam there, because I don't know why, but so that's what holds it straight. Anytime you do replace the motor or get down this far, buy these new. They're cheap, they're easy insurance. If these wear out and this starts to spins in there, obviously, you know, it's not good if this starts to be able to spin in there and run on the cam sideways. There's cheap insurance just to replace while you're at it, but we'll go ahead and keep taking all these out and see what they look like. So far, I mean, it looks fine. All right, here we go. First look at the other side now. See how bad this side looks. Oh. Always that one bolt. You gotta have 2 more threads on. Looks the same. So it honestly looks about the same. A lot of water in the front cylinders for some reason. Some rust for sure. But god dang, this thing is stuck on there. But yeah, pretty much it's good enough. Good enough for what we're gonna do. So we'll hone that stuff out, take these lifters out, then we'll start working on the front. Let me try to work on these real quick. I'll just fast forward everything. But yeah, a little look at those. They're definitely rough. Probably your normal junkyard look you get, I'm sure. Never know what you're gonna get. Start taking the front cover off. The part everybody dreads is taking this thing off. We'll see if it fights us or if it actually works with us. It's a 24 for the stock bolt. We'll see if this thing comes off easy or not. Dang. That thing there was a pain. Alright, so now I just got a Harbor Freight puller. I picked it up, I think it was like 20 bucks. And I'll show you, these LS motors have these little ears right there. That's what you put the little hooks on this part. So you just clip it on there and then that's how you start to pull it. Jeez, finally. I want to show you a little hack whenever I was taking off that balancer, how I stopped it from spinning. I just put 2 flywheel bolts back in there. Pretty much, well, I don't have it in the right spot right now, but I pretty much wedged the screwdriver in there between the bolts and put it on the stand. And that's what held it in place for me. Just a little FYI on if it's spinning on you, what you can do. Beside the point, the balance is finally off. Now we're gonna start on the cover, take the timing gear off. I'll show you the timing dots, the TDC and all that stuff when we get there. All right, so we got the oil pump off, the pan off, all that. You gotta take the pan off first, dummy. I did it backwards. But, I mean, it looks to be expected. Nothing looks too bad in there. So, show you how this whole TDC and aligning the dots that they talk about, all that stuff works out. So, obviously, you know, top dead center is when piston number 1 is at the top of the head there. Show you what they talk about. So, let's get it up to the top. And then there's a compression stroke and not. Look, we're on the compression stroke actually, luckily. So, piston's right there at the top of the deck. You have this little dot right here, and then you have a little dot right there. Simple, they couldn't have made it any easier to time these things. Literally, that's all you have to do. Number 1 will be at TDC when those dots are there. And, you know, when you originally take it off, when you get back, put it back together, just make sure the piston's up there and boom, boom, and you're done. I mean, it's that simple. So I'm gonna go back to the time lapse, take all this off and pull the cam out and we can see what that looks like. Also, I just want to throw it in. No, I know somebody's going to comment and say it doesn't matter on teardown. No, it does not matter if you're at TDC on teardown or not. It's going to come apart. It only matters whenever you rebuild it. Just want to throw that in there. All right, so we got the retaining plate out. It's just these 4 number 10 bolts. This is another cheap insurance deal. Just get this new. I mean, it's cheap enough. That gasket smashes up over time if you reuse it, and I'm sure some people will use it 2-3 times, but you might as well just buy it new. That way oil doesn't leak past it and leak down in the valve, I mean in the cover. You won't see it, but you'll see it in your oil pressure and stuff, and just, you know, just do it right. Just change that out. I'm gonna change it even though this is a cheap motor that I don't really care about, just cause why not for 20 bucks or whatever it is. But now I'll go ahead and pull this cam out and continue on from there. Maybe some gunk just got in it. No, it is still really hard. That's not good. Oh shit. One of these bearings got to be messed up or something. Let me guess one of the back ones, because now they're all coming out fine. Got a little bit of a wear mark on this one, but I mean, I don't know why it's so hard to get out. Maybe just junk from turning the motor over. They say don't look at your cam bearings. Probably not a bad thing to keep going, but I'm kind of curious on which one of those had this thing so hung up. That was really hard to pull out. All right, so now that we got it turned over, we'll go ahead and start taking all these pistons out of here. Everything looks fine and rotates fine. Take these rods and pistons out. Then we'll start working on the mains. These mains are numbered actually 1, 2, 3, 4. So won't be that bad. Just, you can't mix match those, so just make sure you take them off in place. But the rods and pistons, we're gonna number them, keep them in place just to keep order, but I don't think it really matters. And we'll time lapse all this though. Make sure to get you a number 11 and a mallet just to tap them out with. Once you get the rod cap off, then you can just tap it down in there and it'll come out the cylinder. Well, now that we got it completely taken apart, we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna start ordering new bearings, the hone, new bolts and cam and stuff. We're gonna start putting this still back together. Honestly, I kind of wish I didn't even take the the crank out because, I mean, they look good enough for what we're gonna do. But we did it, so now we gotta get new bearings, make sure that they're the correct size. I'm gonna just use a plastic gauge, even though it's not probably the correct way, or I know it's not the real correct way, but, and clean all this crap up because these heads, they are crusty. Heads are crusty. All that's gonna go to the trash, well, except for the rocker arms. We need that. We're gonna put new injectors in there, clean all this stuff up, get new lifters, lifter trays, bearings. But so pretty much that's where we're gonna leave off for now, and I will catch you guys next time once we get some more parts ordered. Hopefully this week it warms up a little bit, and then we'll start back on the S10. I got the injectors back today, actually. The USPS finally found them. So we're gonna start back on this thing this week and do a real first startup video and everything on methanol now. But until then, we'll see you next time. Don't forget to like, subscribe.